I thought I'd do a little Bouncy World server demo just to show what goes on in the background, and just for kind of testing purposes, really, just to find out whether or not your server's working and stuff. You can do some interactive HTTP requests to it. So, first of all, Java version I'm running is 21. Anything above 17 will work with Bouncy World. So that's just whatever's installed. And if you get the Bouncy World server from the releases, you can start it up. One of the things you'll notice straight away is it's Kotlin app. It will tell you the TCP data. So sending and receiving data from the clients is done over TCP, but there is a web interface as well on port 8080. For doing any fun time stuff there, so you can interact with the server and get information that way. So I've got a series of little windows here. This one is for just creating a client. You can post to the client endpoint, port 8080 as I said. The data is very simple. There's a client ID, the version of the application that they're running, if ever we needed to work out whether or not it was version 1 or 2, and then the client's size of their screen. This is just capturing the output. So if I do that, I get a client 1. So what I can do, and we can see on the server as well that it's registered with the FEN version 1. There's a 60-second timeout. If the client doesn't respond, it'll time out. So what I'm going to do is set up a little watch here, and all that does is it gets the data. This is what the clients do. They just stream every second or so, every half a second, to get more data. So what's happening here is this client has connected to the server and is getting a frame number here. So it just increments to FF and then rolls over. It doesn't need to be any more accurate than that. It's just a counter, and then it tells you how many events there are that or how many messages the client needs to read. For the number of objects, and then there's kind of events as well, but there's no events going on here like collisions or messages on the screen and things like that you can send, so the client wouldn't react to anything. What it usually does is if it gets a status byte that says, there's something interesting for you to go and get, it'll fetch that data and download it. So this is just busily sitting, connecting to the client and sending a little request. And because I'm doing this request, the server won't kick the client out because it's making a request, and it keeps track of the last time that the client made a request. And if it goes above a configurable value, it'll kick the client off, and that way it won't permanently have connections. We can also have a look at the world status. The /WS endpoint here is just telling you a whole bunch of other stats about the number of objects, number of clients, and various other bits. So it's all binary data because that's way easier to consume on the client than JSON requests and unpacking it and all that kind of stuff. We just want to make very, very simple requests here. So I've created one client. We can see that the world server is doing nothing, and there's nothing bouncing around at the moment because nobody's done anything. So what we can do is we can send a request to add an object of size 5. There's 1 to 5 of the 5 sizes that you can support in Bouncy World. There's just 5 sized shapes at the moment. So if I add that one in, what will happen is immediately you can see that there's information being sent to the client, and what it's doing is it's giving positional data for a shape of a certain size. So it's telling it exactly where it is, and sometimes when this hits the boundary, it'll get more data when it crosses over a boundary, it'll be showing in multiple places. So this is just roaming around on its own around the server, and you can see some of the numbers have increased here. And that's very boring having one on its own. So let's add some more shapes in. You can see because there's only one client, there's only one screen, so the entire server is showing one screen of data, and that's all being sent to this one client. So the Bouncy World clients will get this bunch of data here, and then it loops through all that data, printing all of those shapes out. So this is the smallest amount of data that we can put on there, just so that the client will work. Let's throw another shape in here. We can see even more data coming across, and we can start to see some of these figures go up as well. What I can do, actually, I haven't tried this. It's a live demo. Isn't that fun? If I put a second user up here, and then what I can do is I can do a watch minus no colors, please. Give me an update every second. And then do curl minus s hp colon. I've got 60 seconds to type all this, so it should be plenty. 8080 w2 minus o minus pipe text xd, so that we don't see all that hideous binary data, and put that. Yeah, I can do that in double quotes. Oh, fine. So now we've got a second client. And we can see this client is getting slightly different data to this one, because this is obviously on the second screen now. And the shapes that are bouncing around on this particular world for this client, or this portion of the world, is different to the first client. And this is what differentiates the different clients here. So this client here has got no bouncy. Oh, suddenly there's a bouncy thing appeared. It's like the Matrix. You get to know what the numbers mean. But yeah, this one's now got a shape bouncing around in it. This one's got a couple. And what we could do is quite easily flood this with a whole bunch more fives in here. So there's lots of, and you can see what we've got here is lots of data. So this is all the size fives. They all appear when you do it from this command on the first screen. I do have some changes that allow you to set up which client you put a new shape on, but by default it just goes to the first client. So that's why this guy sees lots of shapes to start off with, because they are all appearing on his screen magically and bouncing around. But obviously as they move across to the different screens, we can see that this is now getting more data here as well. It's telling it all the different shapes, where they all are, and that's what's happening in Bouncy World. And that's basically how you can test. So we've got Fen1 and Fen2 here. They're both 40 by 22 clients. They're both version 2. These position is their relative world coordinates. So 0, 0 is kind of top left-hand corner, and then 1, 0 on this part here is to the right of them. So as you add more clients, obviously, if you do them in a straight line, we have two modes. One that kind of goes in a big circle around and around, so it fills out rectangles or squares of even sides, and another one that's in desktop mode for when we're doing it on presentations. I think the presentation mode is the one that happens by default now. So you would just get them all going x equals 1, x equals 2. So they just keep growing to the right hand side. So all those bouncing things are just happening on that way. So that was it really. I just wanted to show a little bit of Bouncy World, how to test that it's working without actually having a client working, and seeing whether or not you're getting data, how to connect to it. Just use the WS here for looking at whether or not there is any data in that machine service. And there's quite a few different endpoints that you can try out on those things, just to give it some flavor. You can send messages and various other things, and you can see how the individual events start happening on those clients. But just for a quick demo, that's all I really wanted to show. Okay, thank you.